Finally, at long last, some semblance of justice for cricket. Let's dive in. Hello and welcome to today's episode of Mary Trump Live. Thank you so much for being here with me. Yes, that is right. Finally, puppy murderer Kristi Noem has been fired. Donald announced today that Noem would be stepping down at the end of March after serving just over a year in the role. And what a track record she has in that very short period of time. Donald posted this on his social media platform earlier today, quote, "I am pleased to announce that the highly respected United States Senator from the great state of Oklahoma, Markwayne Mullin, will become the United States Secretary of Homeland Security effective March 31st, 2026. The current Secretary, Kristi Noem, who has served us well and has had numerous and spectacular results, especially on the border, will be moving to be special envoy for the Shield of the Americas, our new security initiative in the Western Hemisphere we are announcing on Saturday in Doral, Florida. I thank Kristi for her service to the homeland. Thank you for your attention in this matter." Here's the thing, a couple of things, actually. He doesn't have to say he fired her. He's just moving to a new position that doesn't exist. A sinecure, if you will, much like Donald has made the presidency of the United States of America. So there's that. Then the other thing is, Markwayne Mullin is not going to become Secretary of Homeland Security on March 31st. He has to go through a confirmation process. See, this is what happens when you allow Donald so much power that he actually is beginning to think he's some kind of fucking emperor. Markwayne Mullin, who, according to our friend and fellow Nerd Avenger, Norm Ornstein, is the dumbest senator currently serving, has to go through a confirmation process. And then a vote needs to be taken. Now, obviously, the chances that his fellow Republican senators don't vote for him are slim to none, or maybe we should just say none. But still, the process must be gone through. And I think the American people deserve to know just how stupid Markwayne Mullin is. Also, Democrats, if any of you votes to confirm any of Donald's nominees, you should be primaried. And the reason I say that is this. The Senate is known to be a very collegial chamber. And because of that, 99 out of 100 senators voted to confirm Nazi Marco Rubio, which means almost every single Democrat did. And look what good that has done us. Stop making common cause with Nazis, which I think is the simplest way to put this. Noem's departure comes after recent congressional hearings in which lawmakers questioned her about a multi-million-dollar immigration advertising campaign, as well as her handling of immigration enforcement operations, including incidents in Minneapolis involving federal agents, which is to say the murder of American citizens on American soil at her behest. And then there's Pam Bondi. A key House committee voted Wednesday to issue a subpoena to Attorney General Pam Bondi. I want to take a look at what Yasmin Ansari, Democratic U.S. Representative for Arizona's 3rd Congressional District, had to say.
Huge news, everyone. On a bipartisan basis, the Oversight Committee just voted to subpoena Attorney General Pam Bondi. This means that she will have to come before the Oversight Committee and answer questions about her egregious cover-up of the Epstein files.
Good. Now, obviously, that could not have happened without several Republicans breaking with their party leadership. That was 5 Republican members of the House Oversight Committee joined Democrats to approve this subpoena. This occurred over the objection of the committee's Republican chairman, Representative James Comer of Kentucky. The subpoena was actually introduced by another Republican, Representative Nancy Mace, anti-trans bigot of South Carolina. Take a look at this.
I move that the committee issue a subpoena to the Honorable Pamela Jo Bondi to appear before the committee for a deposition regarding the department's handling of the investigation into Jeffrey Epstein and his associates and compliance with the Epstein Files Transparency Act.
A motion has been made. The committee will hold this motion in abeyance until the end of today's hearing. The committee will now proceed with today's hearing.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the committee issue a subpoena to the Office of Congressional Workplace Rights for the awards and settlements paid pursuant to Section 415 of the Congressional Accountability Act prior to December 12, 2018, with only redactions allowable for the personally identifiable information of victims, alleged victims, and witnesses. Thank you, ma'am.
A motion has been made. The committee will hold this motion in abeyance until the end of today's.
Comer looks like he got hit in the head with a frying pan. But that's what happens when you use your power to allow people in the government to cover up the potential crimes of other people in the government. So again, it's only a handful of Republicans, but we only needed a handful because the margin in the House is so small in the Republicans' favor. The U.S. House of Representatives, is also scheduled to vote today, March 5th, 2026, on a bipartisan war powers resolution that would direct the president to remove U.S. armed forces from unauthorized hostilities against Iran unless Congress approves further military action. The GOP-led Senate rejected a similar measure yesterday, which was alarming yet unsurprising. It was almost exclusively along party lines, with the exception of Republican Rand Paul, who voted for the measure, and alleged Democrat John Fetterman, who really needs to resign, who voted with the vast majority of the Republicans to just basically let Donald do whatever he wants to do. Well done, Fetterman. The measure in the House is led by Representative Thomas Massie, a Republican from Kentucky, and his frequent collaborator, Rep. Ro Khanna, a Democrat from California. Watch this.
Kentucky Congressman Thomas Massie, who has been helping lead the bill's charge, spoke on the House floor, asking lawmakers to consider voting for the bill.
And American families in my district want to know how this is going to help them pay for groceries. How does this make them any safer in their schools or in their neighborhoods? How does this help them pay for housing? We've already expended billions of dollars, and more solemnly, 6 American families must now lay to rest their sons and daughters. And for what? This administration can't even give us a straight answer as to why we launched this preemptive war.
Massie and California Democrat Ro Khanna have joined forces on the push.
As always, when it comes to matters of war, it's hard to know what line is a red line Americans don't want to have crossed. Like, to what extent are they willing to accept casualties? I think part of that is based on how afraid they're made to feel. Part of it is based on how legitimate they believe the war, the rationale for the war is. In this case, there is no legitimacy, but will that break through? One thing that does seem to get Americans' attention, however, though, is the cost of goods. And in the last week alone, gas prices have gone up 26 cents a gallon, which is, I think, the greatest increase in gas prices in the same time period since the early aughts. The conflict we're talking about here, which is a war of choice launched against Israel and the United States against Iran, has entered its 6th day. Fighting is continuing across the region, and signs that the war is widening beyond the Middle East are accumulating. Civilian casualties are, of course, mounting. The U.S.-based human rights activist news agency reports that more than 1,100 civilians have been killed in Iran since the war began, including 180 children whose elementary school was targeted. Thousands more, of course, have been wounded. Here is a clip from today in Tehran. To those Republicans in Congress who continue to say this is not a war, I asked them then to tell us what exactly it is. In comments to Axios and Reuters, Donald said that he should be personally involved in choosing Iran's next supreme leader following the killing of Ayatollah Ali Khamenei during the initial strikes. Well, okay. But here's the thing. Khamenei's son is next in line. He has the most support. He is, of course, also a hardliner and will just continue the atrocities of the theocratic regime. As for those who would be acceptable replacements from the point of view of the United States or other Western democracies, well, I have bad news. Donald's military has killed all of them, so there aren't any left from which to choose, which is just another indication of how ill-prepared and incompetent the people running this war are. According to multiple reports, Israeli forces have carried out repeated airstrikes inside Iran, targeting missile sites and other military infrastructure. In response, Iran has launched several waves of retaliatory missile and drone strikes. The conflict has also expanded geographically. Israel says it struck Hezbollah command centers in Beirut, while Saudi Arabia reported intercepting multiple incoming missile waves aimed at its territory. Outside of the immediate region, a major escalation occurred in the Indian Ocean, where a U.S. submarine torpedoed and sank the Iranian frigate IRIS Dena in international waters near Sri Lanka. Over 80 people were killed. Iran's foreign minister, Abbas Araghchi, condemned the strike, calling it an attack in international waters. Take a look.
The world saw your battleship sunk in the Indian Ocean. Dozens of Iranian sailors died. Your response was, quote, "Mark my words, the U.S. will come to bitterly regret the precedent it has set." So what is Iran going to do? And at this point, given the state of your military right now, what can you do?
Well, first of all, that was a training training ship, which was invited by the Indian Navy to take part in an exercise. And they went there as their guests, the Indians guests, and they did participate in that exercise, and they were in their way back home, and the ship was unarmed. So attacking an unarmed ship full of training officers and sailors is a war crime, I have to say.
It is a war crime. Yet another war crime that has been committed at the behest of Donald Trump. There is no end to the blood on these people's hands. I just have to hope that the devastating impact this war of choice is going to have on the American economy, if nothing else, will force the American people to demand that it be brought to a swift end. Meanwhile, the Strait of Hormuz, one of the world's most critical oil shipping routes, has effectively been shut down to vessels linked to the United States, Israel, and Western allies, according to Iran's Revolutionary Guard. Watch this clip on how this may well affect the global economy.
The Iranians have basically shut down the Strait of Hormuz, and if they can continue to keep it shut down, then we have a big problem around the world. The price of oil goes up, and one of the biggest beneficiaries of this big problem is Russia, because Russia doesn't have to go through the Strait of Hormuz. They've been sort of in the penalty box. A lot of people aren't buying Russian oil because of sanctions, but because of this now huge dislocation, Russia's sitting in a very strong position, and the price that Russia gets for its oil has gone up dramatically. And so I think this is really, if this carries on, if the Strait of Hormuz stays closed, Putin is one of the big winners out of this whole thing.
Wait a minute. Donald did something that benefits Russia and Vladimir Putin? Yeah, well, you know who is negatively impacted by this? Ukraine. So mark that, please. Several tankers carrying crude oil to South Korea are currently unable to pass through the strait. At the same time, governments are working to evacuate civilians from the region. European countries are also responding. Take a look at Keir Starmer's statement from earlier today.
I can announce today that we're sending 4 additional Typhoon jets to join our squadron in Qatar, to strengthen our defensive operations in Qatar and across the region. Wildcat helicopters with anti-drone capabilities are arriving in Cyprus tomorrow. The Defence Secretary is on the ground in Cyprus right now, coordinating our work and meeting our brave servicemen and women. We're deploying HMS Dragon to the Mediterranean. And we have allowed the US to use British bases to conduct defensive operations to take out Iranian missiles before they're fired at our people and our allies.
Meanwhile, thousands of American citizens are stranded in the Middle East because the Trump regime didn't bother to plan for their removal. Also, I'm not entirely sure I agree that any of our allies should be supporting us in this war other than defensively. And we'll just have to see how their positions change or evolve if indeed this war against Iran becomes something much, much bigger. The situation, of course, remains very volatile as military operations continue across multiple countries and waterways, and we, of course, will keep an eye on all of it. There's some good news in the sea of bad. Yesterday, Judge Richard K. Eaton of the United States Court of International Trade in Manhattan ordered the Trump regime to begin refunding more than $130 billion in tariffs that were invalidated by the U.S. Supreme Court last month. Take a look.
A federal judge ruled that companies that paid tariffs put in place by President Trump but later struck down by the Supreme Court are now entitled to refunds. This ruling offers some clarity about the tariff refund process, which the Supreme Court did not mention in its February decision. The judge said that he alone will hear cases pertaining to the refund of tariffs Trump imposed under the 1977 International Emergency Economic Powers Act. Costco is among the companies planning legal action to get a refund. The federal government collected more than $130 billion through December in these now defunct tariffs.
That order came after a hearing involving a filtration company seeking a refund for tariffs it had paid. Judge Eaton issued a written directive requiring the administration to start the refund process for importers. Judge Eaton also scheduled a follow-up hearing for Friday and requested updates on the progress of implementing the refunds. What does this mean? Well, this means that the tariffs are taxes that the Trump regime collected illegally and did not pass those savings on to the American people. In fact, that's money stolen from the American people. And now, because many companies, in order to soften the blow for consumers and not lose too many sales, took on a lot of the burden of those tariffs, they want their money back. Just really quickly, as you know, there was an election on Tuesday, and the first of many primaries that are being held over the course of the next few months. Again, primaries. So on the Democratic side, not much to discuss in terms of winners and losers. I think, generally speaking, in the primaries thus far, we would have been good with either candidate. The good news is that turnout for Democrats was much higher in Texas and North Carolina than it was for Republicans. Also, John Cornyn, incumbent senator in Texas, has a runoff on his hands against the egregious Ken Paxton. So that'll be fun. And the best thing about that is that it's going to split the party, and it's going to force them to spend tens of millions of dollars before they even turn to the general election. So popcorn. The other good thing coming out of North Carolina is that in state legislative elections, 3 incumbents were obliterated because of despicable positions they held that benefited Republicans. So that's a really good sign. And actually, in general, incumbents across the board didn't do that well. And I think that's exactly what this country needs right now. So we're going to keep a close eye on all of these primaries coming up, because not especially, the House, 218 Republicans, 214 Democrats, with 3 vacancies. We can win so massively in the House that I think we can actually get some work done here. But despite all expectation, the Senate is also in play. Now, having control of the House will allow Democrats to make some serious changes in 2027 and 2028. But having the Senate, that would be something else. Assuming we get the right Democrats in. Remember blue no matter who? No. That's what gets us mansions and cinemas and Fettermans. We need progressive liberal Democrats who understand what's at stake and understand how to fight for what the people of this country need. All right. Couple announcements. We've got merch. Check it out. That's shop.marytrumpmedia.com. I actually really like our merch, and I'm particularly fond of our new redacted collection, which I think looks awesome. In case you can't read that, one of them says the Trump regime is lying to you, and the other one says Donald J. Trump is in the Epstein files over 1 million times. So cool. Also, please become a subscriber over my Substack, The Good in Us. It's free to subscribe, just like it is here, but there's also a paid option, which obviously helps us out. Also, check out our podcast, which is on every single podcast platform in the entire universe, or at least the known universe, or at least Earth. Also, thanks so much to people who already are Substack subscribers and who are Patreon subscribers, because you guys definitely help us out daily, and we truly, truly appreciate that. So going to get to we're going to switch things up a little bit, is what we're going to do. We're going to get to your questions and comments, and then we're going to do the universally popular emotional support moment. But first, I'm going to take a breath, because it's Thursday, which means we have a whole other day to get through before. Oh, wait, there aren't weekends anymore. Never mind. All right. Questions, comments, etc. Oh, hang on. Yeah, something weird just happened. It's just a technological thing. No worries. All right. See how well prepared I am for this change up in the scheduling? Not at all. Well. All right. Here we go. All right. Let's see here. Can you tell I've been practicing? Louise is a new member. Welcome. It's great to have you here. Jackie is a super sticker. Thank you so much for that. Dr. Helga, another new member. Fabulous. Thank you. Lisa, thank you very much for that comment. Seems like wind and solar is cheaper, cleaner, and less deadly than war. You radical left lunatic. But yes, indeed. You are correct. These people. Lolly, thank you so much for that, for being a new member, which is to say, it's great to have you here. Spencer, thank you very much. That's great. Question. So what happens when you let two deranged leaders of highly militarized countries go on playdates? Iran. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, one of the things that's kind of making me crazy here is that the Republicans are saying that Iran is run by a bunch of crazy religious fanatics. Have you ever seen like the mega church pastors and Paula White sermonize? They're out of their minds, and they are just as cruel and just as bigoted as anybody in the Iranian government. So spare me your outrage, Republicans. Susan, thank you so much, as always, for gifting 5 Mary Trump Media memberships. Ghostly Air 59 in the house. Comment. Oh, first of all, thank you very much. Most excellent. Comment. Love Mary's reference to Oscar Wilde, Dorian Gray on Substack. Join us there. Yes, please do. Yes. What I just posted a picture on Substack notes and Twitter and Blue Sky, all the places. A picture of Donald's very badly bruised hand and some weird rash he has on his neck that my friend David Rothkopf, the proprietor of Deep State Radio, described as creeping tree rot, which is so awesome. As he said that, I was taking a drink of my ubiquitous can of sparkling water, and it almost ended badly for my keyboard. Anyway, I posted those 2 pictures, and my comment was simply, the portrait is out of the attic. Because it is. Nanner has been a member for 9 months. Fabulousness all the way around. Comment, one day I'll remember the new time, Heil. Yeah, me too. Hence the lack of preparedness. A Fairy Moon, which has also been a member for 9 months. Excellent. Question, did you know Congress rejected the War Crimes Act? No, but now I do. And I'm even more depressed than I already was. But I'm not surprised. Just don't be surprised. There's no reason. They're awful. They're vile. They're despicable. And they will act accordingly. And they're inhumane as well. Kevin gifted 1 Mary Trump Media membership. Thank you so much. Much appreciated. In the middle of nowhere, thank you as always. Comment, as a new resident to Pennsylvania, Fetterman is a giant disappointment. McCormick is worse. It's scary to be a blue dot in a sea of reds who are sadly disillusioned to thinking Donald has their interests in mind. Is that what he's thinking? I mean, I don't even begin to understand. Do not get me started on Jared Polis, governor of Colorado. Do not get me started. We see where appeasement gets us, right? Mm-hmm. Kevin, thank you again for gifting another Mary Trump Media membership. Donna, thank you as always. Comment, hi, Mary. This is for the swear jar. I'm not having a good day. Who can? Honestly. Yeah, it's difficult times. Susan has been a member for 8 months. Most wonderful. Comment, please subscribe to Mary on Substack, The Good in Us. Awesome, insightful articles and one-on-one live interviews. Well, thank you, Susan. You're like one of my best pitchmen. That's not, sorry, I pitch people. Richard, thank you so much. Richard, comment, wow, I gathered over 30 students onto a group chat so we could start a group of Democrats on campus. I never thought I'd be the guy who start this. Advice for next steps are needed, but hopefully will cause real change. Yeah, I'm not exactly an organizer, but one, thank you. Two, keep it going. Truly, I mean, you're going to have people who keep coming, and that's absolutely wonderful. That is how we're going to do this, right? And we need the young people engaged. So what you're doing is exactly the kind of thing we need. PT Betty is a new member. Thank you so much, and it's great to have you here. Jana, thank you as always. Question. Since Noem was on stage when all that went down, do you think she knew beforehand it was his way to humiliate her? She wasn't even in costume. Yeah, I think if she'd known, she would have been in costume. No, he likes to humiliate people. It's just in his DNA. Susan, thank you again. My goodness. Comment, check out the MTM merch store. I bought the redaction poster to carry in the No Kings protest on March 28th. Perfect. That is perfect. I love that idea. Yeah, everybody get a redacted poster, put it on a stick, and carry it as a sign. Love it. Maybe we should start selling the sticks. I don't know how to do that, but we'll figure it out. Diana gifted 5 Maritime Media memberships. Thank you, Diana. That's really awesome of you. Barb, thank you so much for that and for being a super sticker. Mendenos, member for 9 months. Most excellent. Comment that rash is his guilt manifesting. Perhaps, or perhaps something even more alarming. We might find out one of these days. Join the Lean Rat, member for 2 months. Cool. Comment, M, we're stuck with Nicole Do Nothing Maliotakis. Yeah, that's not good. All right. You know, we need to start cleaning house of those people, literally and metaphorically speaking. Susan, thank you again. Again. I don't know how many times I need to say again, but thank you so much. Comment, correction, Maritime Media merch store link for redaction poster for March. What? Typo. Got it. Just it's the new link for the merchandise. We have a store. Thank you, Susan. I wouldn't have noticed. Okay, finally, we have reached. Oh, wait, hold on. Susan, last comment. Susan again, and thank you. Comment, wearing the redaction poster on a rope around my neck here in New York City. If I see you, I'll say hi. All right. We have reached our emotional support moment. Breathe again. Elephants are among my favorite creatures, especially baby elephants. And in fact, someday, I want to just go to an elephant sanctuary and help raise baby elephants. Anyway, they remind us just how deeply connected all of us are, or should be. And we can't forget this with everything that's going on. I think we have to remember that protecting animals and their habitats, one, helps us preserve the balance of the ecosystem that sustains all of us. Yes, indeed, that is true. But it's the right thing to do, because all creatures have the right to live and to live the best life that the earth can provide for them. And elephants in particular are among the most empathetic creatures. They're more empathetic than anybody in the Trump regime, and they're smarter. And they bring good to the world in a way none of those people does. So Enjoy. I can see myself in those boots. I don't know if you've ever seen videos from places like the Sheldrake Elephant Sanctuary or what have you, but the baby elephants a keeper needs to stay with them all night because they're babies. They each get their own little blanket, and it's just the best thing ever. Anyway, elephants. If you're feeling bad about things, then just watch videos of baby elephants and their moms and their herds, because unlike humans in America, elephants actually care for their families and their communities. So, a lesson for us all. Okay, everybody, that does it for us. Thank you so much for watching on YouTube, streaming on Twitter, and over at The Good in Us. And to anybody listening to the podcast, thank you very, very much. Sorry, I must hydrate. To all of our new members, everybody gifting memberships, all of our super stickers, and everybody giving us donations. And of course, our Substack subscribers, our Patreon subscribers, you guys really keep us going. And we could not do this without you, nor would we. Easiest way to help us out is because, as you may know, things have been a little bit difficult, shall we say, on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And even if you have, click on the bell icon and make sure that you've chosen all. That way you'll get alerted every time new videos drop. Another easy way to support us is watch those videos. We have pre-recorded videos, not just the lives, every single day, 7 days a week. Watch those videos, like them, share them, comment on them. Also, of course, thank you to our amazing moderators who do such a phenomenal job and make us all feel safe in this incredible community. And to my extraordinary team, it's been another week. So thanks, guys. I truly, truly appreciate all of you and everything you do every day in the midst of the horrors, which is not easy. I know. All right. That does it for me. I'll be back tomorrow for Marriage Up Live at 4 p.m. Eastern. And remember, that's Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern. I'm going to remember it someday. And hopefully you will too. Okay, everybody, have a wonderful night. In the meantime, please stay safe and be kind.